Good morning, everybody. How are you? Woo! Okay, so I had dinner last night with my really good friend Rex Crane. Who knows Rex Crane? Say yes, I know him. Say yes if you know Rex Crane. And you guys know Rex Crane? Oh, he's so amazing. Yes, some of you guys know Rex Crane. Awesome. We had an amazing dinner here last night, and it was a great example of, I remember, just let me digress here for a second. I remember, or actually, I don't remember. I know that you can relate to this, and that is when you're busy doing a lot of other things, it's really easy to carve fun out of your life. Do you know what I mean? Where you're like, let's just not have dinner. Let's not do that trip. Let's not do that vacation. Let's not do that because I'm busy working. Anybody relate to me? Yes. So that's because you're ambitious. That's because you're going after it. That's because it's important to you, and you know you have to be able to generate something spectacular with your life. And here's what I want to share with you. As you're doing that, make sure that you're enjoying life in the process. Make sure you're going to your yoga. Make sure that you're eating healthy. Make sure that you're not leaving those things out, because I'm going to tell you, you will earn more, create more when you're actually having more fun. Who's excited about that? Yes. I don't know where we got taught that we needed to pull back in order to be able to create this incredible life. We had to give up all of our fun. So I had a great dinner last night, lots of fun with friends. Just got back from Utah, Deer Valley skiing, and we're heading off to Arizona this weekend to do a little workshop around our marriage. So it's really cool to live on the edge of just always pushing the edge of the life that you really want. So I just want to encourage, felt like hear that this morning, to say you don't need to pull back in order to focus on your business, in order to focus on earning and generating income. So wanted to take a moment today and just say that yesterday I said I was going to give out $1,000 today. I love giving out money. I love giving out, and I love that we're going to have Jason come on and talk about how to multiply it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I love that. And I'll give you a story behind that in a second. But Erica, is it Erica Lynn? Brandstein, we're going to give you $1,000. I hope that blesses your life. I hope that you go do something really fun with it and it blesses your life. But I want to share something with you. If you didn't see this woman's video, she talked about how women put off. You have a daughter in your life, or a nephew, or a niece. If you are female, lots of times women look back on their life, and ladies, go in the chat and let us know if this is true. A lot of times we look back on our life, we're like, oh, our thighs were a little bit big, or oh, my hair wasn't like perfect, or I know it sounds superficial, man. I know it does, but we often criticize our looks on a regular basis. And so this woman, Erica Lynn, did a video last night, and she talked about the pattern interrupts that she's seeing in her audience. And the pattern interrupt that she wanted to put out there to women is, you are already beautiful. You're beautiful. And she does palette makeup, and she helps women just put on their makeup, look beautiful, whether or not they have acne, or whether or not they're overweight, or whatever. It's like, no, you're beautiful right now. Own it. So we just love that here in Heartcore. We just absolutely love that. So we want to bless you with $1,000. Okay, so light up the chats. Are you guys ready to multiply your money? Are you ready to multiply your money? So true story, I have been obsessed with crypto and digital currency. I've been hearing about it for many, many years, but I've been obsessed about it really for the last year. And I knew, kind of like when I knew that I was starting my business, I knew that I was supposed to make money. Who knows that in your life? Like, you have a calling. There's some of you guys have the calling to be a millionaire. I always ask this. Like, it's like, some of you guys know you're supposed to be a millionaire. Put an M in the chat. Put an M in the chat if you know you're supposed to be a millionaire, right? And I know that you guys are on YouTube right now. You're on Facebook right now, Facebook groups right now. So we're streaming all over the place. And I'm going to go back and look. And I know there's M's out there. There's a calling to be a millionaire. So you guys are change makers, right? There's after you make $300,000 a year, it's like this, that's like a lot of money, it's a lot of money. And so you guys are being called to become millionaires. You have a real purpose that maybe you see or don't see, that you're supposed to be contributing to a bigger cause. So I want to really encourage you to realize that making money, and I talk about making money all the time, making money is an amazing thing, but trying to get in the pursuit of getting ahead of your money to have enough or over enough, I just find we can always spend it. And so I had to figure out how to multiply my money because I realized that I didn't have enough runway on this earth to be able to make enough money. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Like, there's just always a reason or a plan or a purpose for that income to go to bless other causes, people, or situations, or even my own family's life. And there's just always reasons to be able to need more money. So I got on this hook because I watched cryptocurrency and I was just like, all right, guys, like I'm talking to my husband, I'm talking to my friends, and anybody else feel like it's a little confusing? Put a C in the chat. Put a C if you think it's a little confusing around crypto, but you know that you know about it. If we could simplify it so that it doesn't have to be a mystery. What if you could make income every single day with it, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be like a Jason Fladlin, who I'm going to bring on, because Jason's really smart. So if he speaks today and you're like, I often have to ask Jason to slow down and explain it to me. But the good news is you can watch the replay. Okay, so the good news is you can watch the replay. I highly recommend that you keep listening to this because I want you to get to your comfort zone. You guys good on that? Yes? Yes? Okay, so it's time to multiply your money. It's time to look at crypto. It's time to realize that it's not just a big boys game. You can get into it at a very, very small amount of and start to multiply that money. So I'm going to invite my friend Jason Fladlin to the virtual stage with me right now. Jason, if you're here, let's pop you up.
Shanda, I am here, and I am kind of in a weird location, an undisclosed location in Vegas here. I'm in my hotel room trying to get the lighting right. I got like a ring light here. I had to turn the light off behind me. So I'm looking a little I still feel beautiful, like you were saying, though. So it's all good.
That's so great. I love that. I love that. So, well, I hope that you're having fun in Vegas, and I look forward to talking to you later in the next day or two. But I'm also really excited for these guys to be able to tap in. My friend Cynthia Kersey and I were talking, and I was like, I got to find a way to multiply the money of our employees in hardcore business. And I knew that I couldn't pay them enough to be able to get ahead. And that kind of feels bad when I'm over there working, investing my money and getting ahead. You and I have talked about this. It's like, a lot of the games to create wealth are not designed for everyday people. They're designed for people who already have a lot of money. So the game's rigged. And you and I both have a very similar heart on showing everyday people how to actually get ahead. And so I'm talking to my girlfriend, Cynthia, and she's like, oh my gosh, I know this guy. And Jason and I laughed because the guy she was talking about was Jason. And so we get on the phone, we start to talk. I'm going to let him take it away. But my point is that Jason's helping me. Jason's going to help you today. I'm going to pass it over to you, Jason, and I'll be taking notes behind the scenes. Thanks, my friend.
I accept. Awesome. Everybody hear me okay? Is my sound good? Because again, I'm a little bit out of my element here, not in the studio or anything fancy like that. Awesome. Woo. Whoa, look at this. This is looking lovely. This is looking wonderful. So I am Jason Fladlin. I am not known as an investor or a crypto expert for that matter. I am a business builder. I built a company called Rapid Crush, co-founded it with Wilson Matos in 2011. And we have sold over 100 million at this point. Well, it's got to be even more than that. We did over $65 million last year, creating and publishing and marketing information products. And I've had some of the biggest hits, so to speak, in the internet marketing space, digital marketing space, services, coaching, software, you name it. If it helped people, I tried to sell it the best that I could. And so it's funny that now I am here today talking to you about crypto. And I just want to make something very clear up front is there's two types of income. There's active income and then there's passive income. And which one should you strive to get? And go ahead, that's not a rhetorical question. If you could be so kind, put it into the chat. And Quentin and Michael and Carrie. And I tricked all of you, okay? Because I framed it as an either or question when the answer is yes. The answer is both. You want both active and passive income. There's this concept called a positive feedback loop, where if you accelerate any point in the loop, it accelerates the whole loop. And so the more active income you have, the more passive income that you can create from that active income. And the more passive income you have, the freeing up of the mental cycles in your mind that it gives you and the psychic energy it unlocks for you allows you to be better when you are making active income. It's really nice to show up and do things knowing that the profit will be a byproduct of what you create and put out into the world, whereas most people have to do it backwards. They have to pay the bills. And so then maybe with what's left over after they earn their living, then maybe they can live their life. And so what we want to do is both. So I'm a huge advocate of having an active business income, preferably, and then a passive investing income, right? Now, here's where it gets a little weird. Some people hear passive income and they think there's a business that is passively income. And I throw the word around, I'm sure Shanda does too as well. Is there are business models such as membership sites where you do the work once and you get paid over and over again. And that's true. But in business, I've found there's always innovation that's needed. There's always management that's needed at some point, whether it's personal management or team management. And really, if you truly care about the audience you serve, which I know anybody following Shanda does, because it's a heart thing, not a brain thing, right? You care from the heart, then the idea becomes you don't want to be hands off with that audience. I mean, I don't want to be, right? I mean, if you're changing people's lives, do you want to stop doing that, or do you want to do less of that? No, the answer is you want to do more of that. But making money and having your money make you money are two separate things. And that's very important to understand, because entrepreneurs are really good at making money. And they're, for the most part, absolutely lousy at having their money make money for them. They're just terrible at it, which is fun because they don't need to be good at it, because they can work 60, 70 hours a week, burn themselves out by the age of 45 and be rich. And then if they're not prone to the work addiction, because addiction can be addicting, or one addiction can lead to another, they make all this money and then they spend it just as quickly as they make it, and then they're broke. So they're rich and they're broke at the same time. It's a really interesting paradoxical kind of nature of a lot of entrepreneurs. So the idea here is we want to do active income that serves us, serves our purpose, and also serves our bank account, because I think every single one of you should be rich. I think the best thing you can do for the poor is not be one of them. And the second best thing you can do is be rich. And then you can serve your audience, you can get rich. And then also at the same time, you can have your money work for you, because if it isn't working for you, it's working against you. And it's always true, but nonetheless, it's more true now than ever. What are the inflation rates? I don't know them all around the world, but in the United States right now, it's like 7%. Every time I look at it, it goes up, and I try not to look at it, but it looks at me and it tells me what it is. And I'm like, oh man, this kind of sucks here. So, your money would have to be making you 7% just to offset it. 7.9%. That's what Elizabeth says in the chat here, and 50% in Turkey, right? Which is just astounding. It's just, we live in very turbulent times. We always have. Just right now, they're more apparent than ever. And so you both want to have something that you work for to make the money, and then something that works for you passively, okay? So let's talk a little bit about investing, and then we're going to dive into crypto here. A little bit of investing is, the concept of investing is, I find things that if I put money to them up front and I help capitalize them, then I get rewarded for that. So here's a classic example. Two guys in a garage. Hey, we're going to do this thing that is going to put a personal computer in everybody's home. Well, you're crazy. Only geeks and nerds and people who like to build it from spec and these little hobbyist clubs are ever going to want a computer. There's no such thing as a personal computer. And these two guys, nobody believed in them. And then one day somebody came around and said, well, maybe you got something here. Here's a pile of money. And if it blooms into something wonderful, just hook me up, because I help fund you, because you can't do it out of a garage. You can start it out of a garage, but eventually you need to put it all over the world, and you need parts for that, and you need teams for that, and you need talent, et cetera, et cetera. So the idea of investing is we deploy capital into things to help accelerate the impact that they're going to have on the world, or perhaps help them have impact where otherwise without cash, which is kind of oxygen in business, without cash, they don't exist. And so you're rewarded because you back certain companies or things, assets, if you will, that are going to increase in value over time because of the impact that they have on the world. That's the theory, at least. That's the idea. So that's what investing should be. Okay. Now, here's what investing has become for the most part, because we have the curse of information. Anybody here know what the curse of information is? Go ahead and type it in the chat. And by the way, Shanda, I love these small groups. They're my favorite groups to work within, because it feels personal for me. I feel like I have more of a connection, so we can have more of a chat as opposed to, we want a conversation, not a presentation here, right? So yeah, data overwhelm, way too much of it, too much info. overwhelming, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, you have choice fatigue. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. The more choices you have, the less satisfied you are with any choice you make, because you now have more reasons to doubt that you made the right choice. 4 choices, maybe you made it, maybe you didn't. 400 choices, oh my God, now you have 399 insecurities to worry about on top of that. And so the curse of information is twofold. First of all, it's overwhelming. Second of all, a little bit of it can be dangerous. So sometimes people are informed, but they mistake being informed with being an expert on the subject. And investing, that's very dangerous. So business is typically non-zero sum. What do I mean by that? I mean, if Shanda makes $1 billion next year, that doesn't mean I have a decreased opportunity to also make $1 billion. It's not a pie that's cut into slices and served like at grandma's during Thanksgiving. It is much greater than that. In fact, the thing is if Shanda becomes a billionaire, it probably increases my chances of becoming a billionaire, and it probably increases all of your chances on this call of becoming a billionaire. So it's a non-zero sum game. Most investing, and especially crypto investing, is largely a zero sum game. The reason one person makes $1 million in crypto is because a collective group of other people lost $1 million in crypto. You follow me? It's not exactly precisely that simplistic. There's more to it than that. But in general, investing is different in business because it's more zero sum-ish, where business is more collaborative. Does that make sense? Okay. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page here. And so in this concept of crypto, the idea here is if you know what you're doing and you have the discipline, then you have an advantage. And if you don't know what you're doing, then you're going to fund the rest of the market. It's pretty tough. It's pretty hardcore. A lot of people don't like to talk about this, but I find the best thing to deal with reality is first acknowledge it and then change it. But not ignoring reality is a very dangerous way. Yeah, you can find the light switch bumbling around in the dark, but it's much easier if you got a flashlight and you point it at it and then you flip it on. Okay. So Katie asked a wonderful question. It's like you read my mind, Katie, here, because you said, help me understand how this isn't a game of war and how those who hold the most money will get it all. And that's a fantastic question. Mwah, chef's kiss to that one, right? So crypto, let's vis-a-vis compare it to, like, say, stocks, the stock market here. Tell me if you agree with me that you feel like the stock market is rigged. If it's rigged and you agree with me, type me into the chat. Is it a rigged market? Okay. For fun and no judgment, and there's no real right or wrong answer here. Does anybody disagree with me? So Juliana says it's not, and then some people say not sure, and some people say sometimes, and Ashley says my husband would disagree with you. It's like a cardinal game. Okay, so let me lay down a foundation of why I believe the stock market is in large part rigged, and let's define what that means along the way too. The problem with the stock market, I'll give you one fantastic example of this. There's institutional investors and then there's retail investors. And what's the difference between the two? So all of us on this call, including me, I'm a multimillionaire and I'm still just a retail investor. I am not an institutional investor. I'm a rounding error. If I have $10 million in the stock market, I'm a gnat. I am nothing. I'm a flea on a dog, right? And so institutional money, retail investors control billions and billions and billions of dollars. Now, who writes policy on what is and isn't allowed in stock market, what is regulated, and all of that noise? Do the everyday folks do it, or do the same folks that are controlling a majority of the assets, the capital that is under management? Yeah. And so typically the same people that are investing lots of money into companies are also investing a lot of money into legislation, regulatory capture, all of that kind of stuff. So there's a part of that. Another part of that is there's a tipping point too. There's a certain amount of money that if you put it into the market, it gives you a massive advantage. I'll give you one example. There's such things as qualified investments. So you have to be a qualified investor to be in them. And there's certain parameters and rules around them. And for the most part, a large majority of investments up until recently were locked behind that door. It's only recently that regulation has changed related to some of these things that regular folks can get involved in. But there are other things too that are just impossible for a regular person to compete with, even if they had an information advantage. So forget the fact that maybe you're not connected because you didn't go to an Ivy League school with your brother-in-law who became a banker somewhere, and now you got an inside scoop. Forget all of the nepotism and cronyism that exists in the market. Let's just pretend that you have the same access to information in the stock market as everybody else. As a retail investor, unfortunately, you're still at a huge disadvantage. Because you haven't invested the billions of dollars into the types of automations and the types of pipelines that have been built and all sorts of other things that are created to help these big boys trade. And so you can't do what they do, even if you wanted to. You could buy their book on exactly how to do it, but unless you have access to some of the things that are proprietary, you're still lost. Okay. And then to further compound matters is, anybody familiar with the terms 2 and 20? Does anybody know here what 2 and 20 means? It's a fantastic concept. It's a brilliant one, because there's the other issue with the stock market. Okay. The stock market is this: a bunch of people that are in finance have had 60, 70, 80, 100 years to essentially figure out ways to offer fee structures to clients that seem like a good deal. But there's all sorts of different things behind them that take a PhD just to understand what actually at the end of the day is your profit and what gets eaten up in fees. And so a 2 and 20 structure essentially guarantees a fund manager that no matter what happens to your money, they make money. No matter what. They make a lot of money. They make a lot of money. I don't think I've seen anybody here yet who's seen what 2 and 20 means. Please, yeah. So fee agreement in hedge funds is what Nancy's saying. It's a very, very simple thing, but basically 2% of the assets under management and 20% of the performance, right? It's a lot of money. So they can make money when you make money, but even if you lose all of your money, they still make money, and it's a lot of money. And they've price tested this, just like we would as marketers, or we should as marketers, price test our offers. And they've discovered that there's a sweet spot here, and they all agreed to it. And these are the people managing your retirement accounts. These are the people the government is handing over for you to be able to handle your money. And it's no wonder why there's a lot of weird stuff going on. It's a wonder why hedge funds, who have the most experts in the world, almost all of them consistently underperform against you just buying the whole stock market. You could buy an index fund, buy the whole market, pay a low fee structure on it. You don't need a fund manager to do the whole thing. And that's probably your best bet for most people. So that's why I feel like the stock market is rigged for a large majority of folks who aren't going to devote a lot of time and effort and energy to figure this out, because you got to figure out more how you're getting a nickel and dime on your returns than the stock. You got to spend an equal amount of time figuring out how to deal with these fund managers, deal with financial advisors, deal with all the different opportunities, and so on and so forth. Okay. It is what it is. Okay. Management fee and a performance fee. That's exactly right, Danica. And there's 100 other reasons why we could go into this. And it is what it is. It's just the way that it works. Okay. Now let's compare that to crypto. Here's the funny thing about crypto. Is there an Edward Jones type of franchise out there where there's like a corner store all around, or these 20-something-year-olds cold calling you, knocking on your door saying, hey, listen, I'm a crypto financial advisor. Let me sit down. No, there's not, right? This sounds ridiculous, doesn't it? I'm trying to think of all the different little franchised out financial advising firms that exist out there. But there's Edward Jones, and Wells Fargo has their own internal stuff, as do all the major banks. Merrill Lynch does it as well, right? And so there's no industry around people that are going to professionally help you manage your crypto. In fact, most financial advisors will advise you to stay away from crypto. Now, there's two reasons for that. Reason number one is it's new and it's hard to understand. Reason number two is nobody's got a fee structure figured out yet. They haven't optimized the fee structures on how to charge you for your crypto. They will. They haven't yet. Okay. So it's disincentivizing to them to want to be an expert at it. And frankly, crypto is insanely volatile. It is dynamite. Okay, when used properly, it can be effective, but use it improperly, you'll lose a finger or two. Okay, so there's a problem with that. Okay, regulation around crypto. Is it heavily regulated or is it unregulated for the most part? Is there a lot of regulation around it or a little regulation around it? Okay, there's very little around it. It is laughably slim comparatively to all the other major asset class that exist out there, like Forex, like the stock market, like commodities, like real estate, even, and the regulations around that. Okay, there's little regulations for now, and the good / bad thing about the government is very slow. It takes forever. That's usually a bad thing. In this case, I think it's a good thing. It's going to take a long time for the government to figure out how to regulate it in any way. Now, is lack of regulations good or bad? Both. Good. I like it. This smart audience, Shanda. They've already picked up on one of my language tricks there, right? So it has its advantages and it has its disadvantages. A disadvantage is this. You lose your password to your online banking account and Chase doesn't say, got you. You've lost all your money. It's all mine now, right? No, they help you get your money. Just because you lose your access to your online bank account doesn't mean your money evaporates. What happens when you lose your login information on your exchange and you can't recover your password no matter how much you try? It is gone. It is gone. It is disappeared. It's done, right? Okay. You could say, well, Jason, I'll write Bitcoin CEO and I'll let them know how I feel about that. There's a problem with that. Who is Bitcoin CEO? Doesn't have one. You say, okay, well, fine. They don't have one. They're one of these new hippie kind of companies, right? I'll go down to their headquarters though, and I'll pick it then. Okay, well, where are their headquarters located at? There isn't any headquarters. There's not a building, which is kind of cool. There's no overhead or any of that stuff. Okay, so the lack of regulations and the lack of procedures that have been established that we're used to, you know, where we go to the teller, they give the kids some candy, all that kind of stuff, right? That doesn't exist for the most part in crypto. There's certain types of protocols and things that are not decentralized that are still crypto related. I don't want to get too geeky on you here too fast. But for the most part, the lack of regulation is a really negative thing if you don't know what you're doing. Because one of the reasons there's regulations is the same reason there's guardrails, so you don't fall over and kill yourself. So the spirit of regulation can be good. Let's protect people so they're not as easily taken advantage of. The disadvantage of regulation is typically the people who are creating the regulations are the ones that are benefiting from it. And the masses are never creating the regulations. It's the elitists who are creating the regulations. And I don't necessarily mean that in a conspiratorial term. I just mean there's a class of people above you and I who live a life that is nowhere near what you and I live or will ever live. And they, for the most part, get to set up the rules. And they haven't got to do that yet in crypto. There's an argument that they'll never be able to do that. I don't know if that's true or not. I think it's going to take another 5 or 10 years before they figure out how to lasso this bull and break it and bring it under control. And I think if they do that in the next 5 to 10 years, if you get in now and you do it properly, I think you'll still benefit from it. For the same reason, like when we used to help people sell on Amazon, the people we got in to sell on Amazon in 2015 with the model we used back then are still benefiting from it today. But you can't start it the day with the same model that you could in 2015. So it's kind of like once you're in before they lock the door, you still get to eat at the table. But if you're not there when dinner's called and they lock the doors, you starve on the outside. Yeah, grandfathered in, George, is a good way to put it. Okay. So the lack of regulations in crypto allow us to have advantages that normally are not reserved for us. Does everybody follow? Tell me if that makes sense. We are in an unprecedented period of time where we are now on even playing field. And arguably, okay, and now I'm going to get really crazy on you here. Arguably, we're at an advantage. Now, why do you suppose I would say that that we are at an advantage over the typical financial wizards and investors out there, or the upper echelon in finance, the rich folk. I know that's weird because I'm rich, right? But you know what I mean, hopefully, right? The people that typically make the rules, okay? Yeah, because they're doing other things, right? That's one of the reasons why, because we have less to lose. That's an interesting thing. Mostly, this, the same reason we're at an advantage is the same reason that Apple was at an advantage over the music industry when it came to streaming online. It's the same reason why Netflix was at an advantage over Blockbuster when it came to watching videos online. It's the same reason why Uber and Lyft were at an advantage over the taxi services, even though the taxi services had a 60-year head start on them or a 100-year head start on them. It's the same reason why Amazon was at a greater advantage than Walmart. When the times changed, existing players typically don't change with them very well. New players come up and replace them. And that's exciting. I think that's exciting, okay? Huge advantage here. They don't typically change at all. They're like milkmen. They dig in and resist until they're gone. And then they're gone. Like AOL, there's a good one. I like that. Yeah, big boats turn slowly. I like that, right? And so huge opportunity there in crypto, all right? Now, right now, if you take your money down, you put it into a bank account, put it into a savings account, what kind of interest are you drawing on that money? Zero. 1%, close to zero, barely any, 0.1%. If you're in Japan, last I checked, you're paying to have your money stored in the bank. I don't know if that's still going on, but it was going on, right? Yeah. Laura says, oh, yes, I pay. And I think in Germany or parts of Germany, I think they're now kind of instituting that as well, where the banks say, listen, I guess I'll take your money, but I'm going to charge you now. It's preposterous. It's crazy, okay? When banks were first created in the 1400s, it was a weird new concept, a bank. Can you imagine back in the day? Let's pretend we're getting a time machine and going back to the 1400s, okay? And somebody says, hey, listen, I got this idea. Why don't you give me your money? I'll put it somewhere. And then if you need it, you come get it out. You think that idea was like a hot new thing where everybody instantly got behind it and the masses were like, yeah, let's do that? Or do you think they said, are you crazy? That sounds insane. So how did banks ever get off the ground? How did banks ever get traction? How did that idea ever take off and not go over like a lead balloon? Okay, with marketing. The same way any idea gets off the ground. A bank says, I'm going to get a customer. How am I going to get the customer? I'm going to create an irresistible offer. And the offer was, well, here's the deal. Not only will I prove to you that we're going to have checks and balances and oversights on your money, but we'll give you an interest rate that's pretty damn good in exchange for you giving us your money. And how much was the typical interest rate when banks in the first 10 to 20 years that banks first took off? Okay. Yeah. It's about 17%. It peaked at 19%. So for a long period of time, I'm talking a long period of time in history, although it's a long time ago, but it was pretty normal for a very long period of time, especially the first 50 years of inceptions of banks, for them to pay you close to 20% on your money. Crazy, huh? But not really. That's how you build a market. They said, listen, we're going to get all these people money together, and then over time, we're going to grow market share, and then we're going to be able to innovate. We're going to be able to do other things as well. And so it's a calculated risk. It's the same way that when Netflix first started growing, they were giving out 90-day free memberships. It's the same way where Elon Musk, when he first rolled out the electric vehicles, the Teslas, he says, just put it on a credit card, just give us a little bit of money, we'll figure it out down the line, right? You buy market share, okay? So proper decentralized finance right now in the crypto space, called DeFi for short, DEFI. If you go into a legitimate DeFi opportunity, guess what the average rate of interest is on your crypto right now? It's about 20%. Yeah, crazy, huh? The only problem is back then there was maybe one bank or two banks in your geographic location that you could choose from in the 14, 15, 16, 17, 1800s, right? Nowadays, there's thousands, probably more than thousands of potential quote unquote DeFi opportunities out there. And most of them are not worth it. I wouldn't give them a fraction of one Dogecoin to hold on to, much less than trust them with my money. But there is a lot of opportunity if you have crypto and you park it somewhere and it's reputable and it's safe and it's secure, you could do 19%. Just that alone, right? Just that alone.
Hey, Jason, can I come on and ask you a couple questions? Because I'm watching.
Of course you can. You're running
I'm
the show
watching
here.
some of these chats on some of the other streams that we're on. So okay, so I want to make sure that I land this for some of these people, because it's like I'm watching the chats and people are like blowing up the chats on the different social channels right now, and it's like so like explain this, because I'm seeing some of the questions, so I'm gonna bring these up, you guys.
And I'm seeing them
Explain some
too.
of this stuff. So you guys are playing the game of crypto a little differently, right? You're
Yep.
buying and selling crypto at different amounts. So when people are dealing with, I've got my last $5,000 or whatever, and they're like, you know what? And you guys go in the chat to let us know if this relates to you. It's like, got my last $5,000. I need to go invest it somewhere, or 2,000, or 3,000, or 4,000, and I need to go invest it somewhere. And I know that it's sitting in the bank losing money, right? So if you don't know that, your money's losing money sitting in the bank. Bad deal. Like everybody that taught you to stockpile a savings account was all going by the institutional advice. And I love that you talked about the fact that it's a marketing campaign, because a lot of people don't understand that. They just don't understand that. Jason and I are both in the business of marketing. Everything is a marketing game. These things don't just get off the ground. They're marketed to you. You buy into the funnel or you don't, right? So let's get on an even playing field to get your head above water. So when somebody's got this cash and say they've decided, I'm willing to invest it in crypto. I'm willing to lose it if I have to, but I don't want to, right?
Yeah.
So now we don't know anything about it. Do we go in Bitcoin? Do we go in this? Do we go in that? Like,
oh yeah,
well, right? Like it's
I'm
like
laying the foundation for that, Shanda. Yes.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Yeah. So I'm definitely going to get there, right? I like to romance the stone a little bit, because I feel like when the point lands, it's going to land with more impact. That's a little teaching technique for you there, right? But let's just unpack something you said right now, because I think it's worth bringing up. And then remind me at some point in time to define what decentralized finance is, or even what decentralization is, even what the blockchain is. Because I think you need to know the alphabet first before you try to write a poem. And so the idea here is, if somebody says, hey, Jason, I got the last $5,000 to my name and I want to invest it, I'm going to tell you, don't invest it in crypto. Don't invest it in any passive investment. Invest it in yourself. Okay. Put it to something that can make you active money. So until you have some sort of foundation of active money that is stable enough for you to sleep okay at night, passive money for you is mostly off the table. It is. Okay. That doesn't mean you can't paper trade. Paper trade, it's a poor name now, because we don't even have paper in the crypto space. It's all digital code, right? So you can do pretend money, or what we call demo mode. You can still play crypto with fake money, which I think is great. If any of you have kids like I do, we didn't just throw them on the bike and say, good luck, kid, right? We put training wheels on first. So I think that that's smart to do in your part-time. So you can learn the passive investment game before you put actual money in there to be passive. But the first thing you have to do is be active. And active is, the way you multiply your money in active is you make the thing you're offering more than the money is for them to get it, okay? They say, oh, I got $500 in my pocket. You got this thing over here. To me, that's worth more than $500. I want that. It costs me more not to buy it. So if you're in a position where your money is super tight, you got to do active. And active is a matter of ingenuity. You don't need capital to make money with active investments, which is investments in yourself or active income. You need creativity, which is infinite, and it's equally abundant to you whether you have $1 in the bank or $1 billion in the bank, okay? But the idea here is, I will tell you, what helps you strive for active income is it's not a hamster wheel you get caught into like a lot of people is. Active income is the impetus to then have money to put into passive income vehicles. You follow me there, right?
Yeah.
Now let's pretend, yeah, go ahead,
Sorry,
Shannon.
and I think there's a great opportunity for just you and I, like with the marketing aspect, like just tell all these entrepreneurs for a second, or people watching for a second, how important it is to have a list. Because everybody's out there, they're out there running on these social platforms trying to get famous. And I'm like, listen,
Yeah.
Jason works with many of the people that you guys follow and has known them for a long time and is an incredible marketer. And I remember being at an event and I was sharing these to these entrepreneurs how to build a list. I said, if you fail, I remember you actually started laughing, belly laughing. I said, if you fail building a list in the way that we show you how to do it, you'll have about 700, 900 people on your list. And you started to belly laugh because you're like, oh my gosh. Yeah, you're like, I get rich off that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you give me 700 souls, by the way. So we talk about lists, right? Lists it's a term we use in the industry, but especially in training, I like to talk about it as you have a list of 700, you have 700 souls, right? I mean, you could be a millionaire if you help change 700 people's lives. So a lot of people think a list is 1 million people or 100,000 people or 50,000 people or whatever the case may be. Give me 700 souls who are all actively interested in something and give me enough time and I will give them a solution that they can't find anywhere else, period. Okay. So that's the idea. How important is a list? Well, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay. If we were to apply it to marketing, it's like, all right, what's the most important thing? So let's just pretend this is like a thing of, well, we need oxygen because without it, we only live about 5 minutes. Okay. We need water because without it, we only live about 48 hours, maybe 72 hours. We need food. Without it, we live about 30 days, maybe 60 days, maybe 90, unless we do something crazy, right? So I would put an email list at about, I don't know if it's a food level or if it's a water level, but it's essential, right? It's before shelter in the hierarchy of needs in a marketing business online. An email list to me is the most important thing ever in any online business that I want to run. The first thing that we evaluate is the capacity to build an email list, or if there is an existing email list, what condition it's in, and how can we make it an outstanding email list. And our whole purpose is building it. Like I said, Shinda, we just closed in December on a $57.9 million launch, and nobody heard about it. I wasn't going out. I'm not on social media. I got 4 people that I'm friends with on Facebook. I'm related to 3 of them and I work with the other one, right? I don't have an Instagram account. I don't have really any YouTube presence, what to speak of. I wish I did, but it's kind of like lower priority stuff here. Give me a couple folks who are super interested in what I have to offer, and I can create an intimate conversation with them in an email inbox, because let's face it, a Facebook newsfeed is not an intimate conversation. I know some people like to put their intimate stuff out there in public. We call that like disastrous, right? There's a time and place to deal with that stuff. It's not out there. The email inbox is a personal, sacred space. And you've earned the right to be in there. And you better treat it with all of the sacredness that it deserves. And so an email list is fantastic. It's kind of almost like passive income in an online business, because I don't have to hunt down a whole bunch of people to put an offer in front of them to make money. I have to just push a button and then say, hey, listen, this is the thing now. And we build a relationship over time. Because if, we email on average, Shanda, 4 times a week, 4 times 52. We send 108 unique, or, is that what's 4 times 52? Is it 208? We send 208 unique communications per year to our audience. All of them specified and made and designed to make their day and their life better, period, right?
Thank you.
So that's the importance of an email.
Thank you
right?
for sharing that.
Okay, good. So yeah, I mean, I'm advocate number one. So by the way, to do 57 million, we put everybody on an email list first. Before anybody bought, they went on an email list. Guess how big our leads were to do 57 million? How big was our email list?
I'm curious.
Yeah, it was bigger than you would think, but it wasn't as big as what everybody else is doing. Okay. So we had about 175,000 leads when it was all said and done. So 175,000 leads. And this is an email list from scratch. So we started building that email list in May. And by December, we had sold 57 million. So from scratch, we built it up very quickly. Okay. So that's that. All right. That's how you make active income. You put 300 people on an email list, you sell 20 of them a $500 offer, you just made $10,000. You take some of that, you reinvest it in your business. You take some of that, treat yourself, get a mani-pedi, go out, have a nice dinner, right? And then you take some of that and you put it into a passive investment vehicle, such as a crypto or such as stocks or such as whatever. I mean, I'm a crypto enthusiast. Now I have an advantage and we'll talk a little bit more about it later, okay? But I digress, okay? So let's talk about what really is crypto exactly anyway. And then I'm gonna loop all this together. I'm gonna loop a lot of this together. And if I miss some of the loops and some of the threads that I've opened up that I plan on closing, remind me and I'll do my best to close them, okay? So let's start with what is Bitcoin? Becky's right, it's code. Okay. Just so I know the demographics of the audience here, who here has children? If you do, say me into the chat, because I'm guessing a lot of you do. Okay. Okay, good. And grandchildren, even better, right? Those are like children supersized. This is like the extra level of children. All right. So do your children play Roblox or do your grandchildren play Roblox? And almost everyone.
We don't let Zach play it, Jason.
So I think 42% of all children between the ages of 8 and 18 have a Roblox account in the United States. And the way Roblox works is they get Robux. I'm sure some of you have bought Robux for your children. I know I have, right? And then they use Robux to buy the stupidest, dumbest, in my opinion, stuff, but the kids love it, right? But I prefer Minecraft. I like that, right? Same kind of concept, right? That's digital money. That's no different than Bitcoin or Ethereum. It's digital currency. That's all Bitcoin is. I know it sounds like a mystery wrapped in a riddle, shrouded in an enigma. It's just digital code. It's no different than the digital communications we do in digital marketing, all right? The difference is Robux is centralized, just like the dollar is centralized. A company controls it. They decide who can access it and who can't access it, and they create rules around it that are fungible, meaning they can wake up one morning and change the rules. Feel me? Okay. So Bitcoin is not like that. Bitcoin is decentralized finance, meaning that it is not in any one person's control, and that there is an actual finite limit to the amount of Bitcoin that are created. And there is protocols in place based on code that is spread out so nobody can gain access and control over it, to have it function independent of the manipulations that are traditionally hampering all the other finances that exist out there. So that's what Bitcoin is. Now, what is decentralization exactly? Okay. Decentralization says, listen, let's take this piece of information and instead of putting it in one person's control, let's chop it up into a billion pieces. Let's spread it all over the world and then connect all those pieces together. And so that way, if any one of those pieces is manipulated, that's okay, because we'll have enough of that information available to make that record, again, non-fungible. You can't change it. You can't do funny business to it. So here's the best way that I think to look at it, okay? We're pretty spoiled here in most first world countries, even though, we still can have challenges emotionally and so on and so forth. We're still miserable, just like the rest of the world. But there are parts in other places in the world, in third world countries, where say you bought a piece of land. How do you know you own that piece of land? Well, you went to the land registrar and you have a deed that proves it. It's on file. It's a title. Yeah, title. It's a piece of paper. Okay. What's to stop that registrar from saying, oh, there's no paper here anymore? They throw it away. They burn it up. No, my brother-in-law owns that. You don't own that. I own that. We control that. Okay. And in most third world countries, that's how it kind of works. And on first world countries, it kind of works that way too. It's just not as easy. But that's the challenge with centralization, with ledgers, with information, with record keeping, right? Gomana, I'm not sure how to say the name. You have no idea. I have a little bit of an idea, unfortunately, right? So decentralization has created a procedure with an unbelievable amount of mathematics, which we do not have the time nor the capacity for most of us mere earthlings to figure out today to prevent that from happening with true decentralization, all right? So that's what decentralization is. And then what is blockchain, right? It's part of the decentralization. It's how the protocol, it's how it's broken out and spread out there, and how there's redundancy in place and how it's immutable, okay? So that's what Bitcoin is, essentially. It's run on the blockchain. Now, Ethereum, what's the key distinction between Ethereum and Bitcoin? Because there's one major key distinction. It's a good one, right? This is fascinating because most people I talk to, even supposed experts, they don't know how the cake is made. They just want a slice of it, right? Ethereum operates on this thing called a smart contract. Has anybody ever heard of smart contracts? Yeah, Roger got it, right? It's one of the most brilliant examples of actual utility in cryptocurrency. Because what's the usefulness of Bitcoin right now? Does anybody use Bitcoin? Has anybody bought anything with Bitcoin recently? I haven't. Bitcoin is the name brand of cryptocurrency, so it does have utility in that regard, but it's merely a speculator's tool right now. There's no usefulness for it. The idea is one day, someday, it will take over national currencies like the dollar, the yen, the pound, and create the first global currency, which would be nice. Because I don't know if you've ever had to do like a wire transfer overseas. I'd rather have a colonoscopy than do a damn wire transfers. They're so painful. On the blockchain, I can transfer from one coin to the next and one exchange to the next with a string of text. It's the easiest thing in the world, right? And so the concept and the utility of Ethereum is smart contracts, as compared to what? The contracts you and I all do, which are dumb contracts. Dumb contracts. Any contract that's not a smart contract is by default a dumb contract. A dumb contract works like this. Hey, listen, you will pay me this much and I will do this for you on these certain dates. And then you do this on these certain dates and they don't pay you. Has anybody had that happen to them? I'm a millionaire, even more so if I actually got paid everything I was owed. I could add another 7 figures to my net worth if I was actually paid everything that I was due. But that's the business, right? That's going to happen. It just does. It's unfortunate. That's a dumb contract for you, right? Smart contract doesn't allow that to happen because the code secures certain actions that once they're done, it's like escrow without an escrow company. It's brilliant. And it's still in its infancy. So forget Bitcoin for a second and forget finances for a second. In what industries, by number, just throw out a number, in what major industries of commerce do you think smart contracts could be a game changer, could be disruptive, could be valuable? Like all of them, right? And it's starting already. You don't know this. It's invisible. Nobody's seeing this, okay? But it's already starting. They are utilizing blockchain technology and smart contracts in cancer clinical trials, because the amount of data required and the amount of mechanisms that need to occur and roll out are phenomenal. It's going to disrupt that industry. The healthcare industry is going to disrupt that. I don't know when, and I don't know who, which token will do it, but some of them will do it. NFTs. I'm glad you brought this up. This is how I know we're in sync for the most part, because you're reading my mind. You're understanding where I'm going with this. So an NFT, what's an NFT? It's a non-fungible or fungible token, depending on how you want to pronounce it, niche or niche, right? And I'm definitely not talking about Bitcoin mining, Christine. I would not recommend that, but that's just me. Non-fungible tokens are essentially a vehicle that people can utilize all this record keeping in a way that has authenticity and ownership that is immutable. Now, here's the way people are using it right now, which is it's a poor use case, but it makes good marketing. There's that word again, marketing. So when I say NFTs, what do you think? Michael already says, I think the JPEG is just a test for what's to come. You got me, right? That's exactly right, Michael. George says art. Elizabeth says art. Everybody says art, okay? I would argue that art is one of the worst ways in which NFTs can be used. Funny, right? Here's the reason why. I mean, art is cool. It's catchy. It's meme worthy. And it's fantastic. That's how NFTs are getting off the ground. Somebody smart marketed that, right? And I am an artist and I love art. Here's the theory of NFTs with art, okay? I have a lot of really good art. I got a Van Gogh that I'm proud of, a limited edition of that. I have a Dolly that I think is real, but I don't know, because Dolly's the most counterfeited artist that's ever existed. So how do I verify that the Dolly I have is in fact authentic? The Salvador Dali. How do I authenticate that? I go to a supposed art expert who will authenticate that. Now, even the best authenticator in the world is never 100% accurate. Would you agree with that statement? That authenticators get it wrong all the time? All the time. Even the best get it wrong all the time. For the same reason, doctors kill more people than just about anybody. And they're the experts, right? So I got this certificate of authentication in my safe for all these paintings. But what happens if a fire comes along or somebody gets into that safe and breaks it, or I take it out of the safe for one moment and I accidentally lose it? What do I have to do to verify its authenticity if my paper of authenticity is gone? I got to slog down, find another expert, go through the whole process, go through the whole rigmarole again. Ugh, okay? Yeah, whatever, right? Now, what if the painting got burnt down? What if the Dolly got burnt down? Now what do? I cry. That's right. Maybe get some insurance money out of it, which is nice, but I don't get to look at it anymore, which is not so nice, okay? So a non-fungible token has authenticity built into it in the code. It doesn't need a third-party authenticator who is fallible, and it's baked right into there, and it can't be destroyed. You feel me on that one? How are you going to destroy it? You can't be destroyed. That's what makes non-fungible tokens really wonderful. So an example of a non-fungible token in the music space is, hey, music streaming, you guys, guess who gets paid the least out of everybody in that process? Because there's a lot of hands in the pockets. The artist gets paid the least, right? Arguably, the artist should get paid the most, but at least the artist should get paid a comparable amount, but they get stepped on. There's a long line of, there's the customer on the other end, the listener, and then there's the artist over here. And there's about 50 people in the middle of them getting a cut. That's why the artist gets paid the least. So the artist now with smart contracts can get paid directly from their artist base without the need of 50 middlemen. Maybe there's one or two middlemen because they use an exchange, or sorry, they use a service where they can put it into a gallery or a marketplace that mints the NFTs for them. So I don't know about you, but I like buying crypto in NFT companies. Not NFTs. I'm not quite figured out what NFTs to buy or what not to buy. But it's the same reason that, it was a smart play to buy a lot of microprocessing stock when Apple took off. Because what does every Apple computer and phone need? They need certain microchips. So same kind of concept here. I'm not figuring out why this Bored Ape is going to the moon, or why CryptoPunk is hot, right? I'm just like, who's the plumbing that's making all of these things tick? That's what I'm looking at. And so that's the end of our conversation, unfortunately, here today. I definitely have more I can say on the topic. And the bottom line that I'll wrap up here in the 1 minute that I have left, I don't even have a minute left, but I'm going to buy a minute if that's okay, Shanda, is with crypto here is it's a brand new opportunity. There's a lot of noise and things that are going out there because there's a lot of NFT noise. Most of it is junk. You got to know the good from the bad. There's a lot of decentralized financial opportunities out there. Most of it is junk. You got to know the good from the bad. There's a lot of coins out there, 15,000 last I checked. I have a list of less than 100 that I'd ever look at right now that have actual usefulness, utility, that are disrupting industries and marketplaces. This is the future. Start with play money. Learn the lay of the land. Focus on security and safety. But if you ignore this, it's going to run you right over. So make it a priority, and then make it a priority too, where you're not glued to a monitor trying to catch knives that are falling from the sky. Because that's what people are doing when they try to time the market. Try to catch a falling knife. It's easier than trying to time the market. So you got to do something instead. And the answer isn't more information. The answer is process. There's opportunities right now when the playing field is equal in crypto, and there's no massive regulators out there fixing it, and it's fairer because the code is more transparent. Massive opportunity there. And that's where I'll end it today.
So good. So Jason, so first of all, I saw a ton of people that were like, this needs to be a whole day workshop. And don't worry, Jason, I actually talked about that because we knew that was the case. We wanted to actually lay a foundation to be able to have you understand so much more about what's going on in crypto. Suzanne, Jason, you didn't see Suzanne sitting over here, but she's like, ooh, she's like, I like getting a full commentary over here. She's like, I'm learning so much and it's so good. I love that. I loved when you talked about if your money's not working for you, it's working against you. And I loved when you said that. And something that a lot of people don't understand is when you're building your business, creating that active income, right? When you're building your business and you're creating that active income, there's one piece of building the list, but then there's also going out there, like you build the list through partners and people mailing and all of that. And then there's the next stage, which is going out to do paid traffic. And a lot of people don't understand this game because they're costing everything. They're like the people who pay the most for a customer or client online, you guys, like the more money you can pay, the more active income you can generate to actually pay for ads online. So if I can pay $400 or $500 for one of you guys to register with me, say Jason and I did this behind like a squeeze page or an opt-in page. If I could pay $400 or $500 for one of you to register, think about that for a second. Let me just do the math for a second. If I took, let's say 700 people, right? And I take 700 people and I pay $500 a person, that's $350,000. Okay, so do you have $350,000? Go in the chat and tell me to talk to like 700 people, right? Do you? No, right? So my point in sharing that with you is that the more you can actually pay to grow your business and to reach more people, the bigger game you get to play. But the problem is if you don't have the active income, you're going to keep going, how much does this cost me? How do I get my costs down versus actually generating? So I wanted Jason to come here and chat real quick, because the way that I see is the equalizer right now is not in you working harder. It's actually in you creating some active income and then doing exactly what he said, taking some of it and putting it in crypto. So Jason, this challenge we started last Monday, and we talked about, basically what can we do, because we knew that this was going to open up a lot of information, and I can't answer all those questions for you guys, right? And so I get to sit in a room with Jason and I get to sit in rooms with a lot of really smart people, and we cut big checks. We cut big checks to be in those rooms. We cut six-figure checks to go sit in 2 meetings a year to just learn this stuff. And we know that is not necessarily available to everybody yet. okay, yet, but it's coming, right? And so the people who actually ended up jumping into our leadership program and our list building program throughout this week, which by the way, you guys, we shut the cart last Monday, right? So we closed the cart down last Monday. Who are the people who actually jumped into that, right? Who are the people who jumped into that? Go and say me. So we have a gift for you. And the gift for you is, tell them, Jason.
Well, so you know me, I like to teach foundation before we teach strategy. So we're going to start teaching strategy. And so we're going to do a workshop that Shanda has asked me for her VIP members, I believe it is, right? To do a deeper dive into a specific strategy that we're utilizing right now that I got Shanda on in the crypto space.
So good, so good. So we're going to do that on April 29th, right? So we're going to do that on April 29th for not VIP. VIP, we're going to sit with you for a few minutes, but actually for everybody who jumped into the business and life package or the business package. Yeah. So if you're brand new to this, here's what I'm going to do, because I knew that this was going to open up. So that offer's gone. So that offer closed down on Monday. If you're brand new and you haven't seen us on any of this revenue challenge stuff, go in the chats and say, you guys in VIP, we see you, right? So we got you. But we want to reward everybody who jumped in. So don't freak out about this, what I'm about to do. Got it? Here's what I'm about to do. Because it's critically important for you to be able to create this active income, you must build a list. Jason called it souls. These are real people. You must build a list. And I think that playing on paid advertisement is an expensive game. I just showed you, if I had 900 people opt into my list and I paid $500, I'm up to $350,000. Many of you guys don't want to, you don't want to go mortgage your home or pull money out to play on that game, because you're not even sure in some cases what you would sell. And in other cases, you know what you would sell, but you've never been able to have a six-figure weekend or maybe $100,000 month, right? I want to get everybody out of this realistic, logical mindset. Everybody gets to be in the multiple six figures, if not millions of dollars a year in creating active income. But you will, I promise you, it doesn't matter how much money you make, you can always spend it. And when you make good money, guess what starts to happen? Your tax bill goes up. We were like rushing to the tax yesterday because there's like a tax thing that just got created that we were rushing to pay it before midnight last night to be able to get a bit of a tax break. And so you're always playing this game, inside the matrix, essentially. And we want to get you out of that. And so we show people how to build email lists in a way, and text message lists in a way that you don't have to spend any money on advertisement. In fact, we'll show you how to have incredible people like Jason, myself, which I'm not saying us, but I'm saying how to access authors and influencers and people that actually have real businesses, because the smoke and mirror out there of social media, I'm telling you, I have people that have 800,000 followers, 100,000 followers, and they have no money. They have no money, right? They have no money. And so there's this smoke and mirrors of how pretty do I look online, or how good, people are even buying cars and promoting stuff to get you to follow them. And it's like, listen, do you want to be rich or do you want to be famous? Do you want to be rich or do you want to be famous? I want you to be rich. I want you to be rich. You can pay to be famous. I promise you. You can pay to be famous. I mean, there's influencer marketing out there. For $10,000, $20,000, $35,000 a month, a bunch of influencers will market you and blow up your pages. Go make the 35,000 if you really want to be famous, because we can make you famous. It's a formula. And you got some cash, and it's a formula. Anybody can do it. That's what drives me crazy when people spend years and years of their life trying to grow their Instagram accounts and everything. They're great. They're awesome. They're great broadcasting tools. Phenomenal. I love them. They're like the new Netflix. I love them. But I don't want to base my whole foundation of my business on it. So what we do is we help people build email lists. And then what Jason does is help them move into passive income. So for you guys who jumped in last week, and we closed the card on Monday, we got you April 29th. We are going to do a workshop. Jason is going to do a workshop, and he's going to train you on the strategies of cryptocurrency. I hope you're really excited about that. Say yes in the chat. If you missed that offer, you're probably having a little bit of like, So here's what I want to share with you. The offer is closed, but I have a new one. And the new one is the same opportunity, which is, I'll show you how to build a list. This is a business package. Can you guys put up the link, please? So it's joinlistpower.com. I'll show you in the business package how to build a list. I will also give you tickets to my November. Who knows? Maybe Jason, I can get you to come to that 3-day event, zone event. We could talk about it offline. But the business package, I'll teach you how to build a list, and I'll give you 2 tickets because many of you guys have a spouse or somebody in your life that either doesn't understand what you're doing and needs to get on the same plan. So I'll give you 2 tickets to zone event, or you're like me where I really like my best friend to come with me. I find a lot of accountability, collaboration, confidence when I'm learning something new, when I have somebody really close to me that I can run with. So I'll give you 2 tickets to zone event, teach you how to build a list if you just want to do the business package. Now, last week, that was $1,000. It's still $1,000. However, I did not have a payment plan to finance any of you. So if you go to joinlistpower.com, you'll now see a payment plan. So if you need me to be your bank right now, I will be your bank right now. Go to joinlistpower.com. Now, if you're someone who, let's say you have felt disappointed in yourself because you haven't taken advantage of opportunities like this because for whatever reason, you haven't been resourceful enough, or you've been scared. You've been scared when money's tight, or when you've made some mistakes in the past and they haven't panned out, it can feel scary to jump back in. So, however, I'm going to encourage you to dust off your shoulders again and just say that is a leadership trait. And Jason and I have talked about this. What makes people follow through? What makes people hit the goal? What makes people always be successful? Because you know them. There's people in your life that they do everything you do, but they always win. Am I right? They always win. And it's a little irritating that they always win. But the thing that's happening is their leadership is in check. The way they think is your leadership. The way you take action is your leadership. The way you solve problems is your leadership. It's 100% your leadership. So you've got the business package, but we also have the business and life package. And again, last week we had a 3-pay if you needed us to finance it for you. So now we have a 4-pay. So literally, I keep bringing down the walls to teach you how do you create this active income. And for today, anybody who jumps into this, we are going to add Jason's workshop. Okay, so all you guys last week are going to get it because this is critically important. I'm going for even more wealthier. And I know I make incredible active income, but I know that it's critically important for me to keep generating, and I need to do it in a safe way. As a woman, I want to do it in a safe way. Jason is my safe bet. And so, there's a lot more we can go into this. And when we do the workshop, we'll share how his people are making literally 70, 80, 100, dollars a day in passive income, right? And Jason, I'll pull you back up here for 2 seconds in just a moment. So why would you choose the business and life? First of all, it's still an incredible discount. I closed the cart last week, but this is a $5,000 leadership program that you get the leadership program and the list building and the ticket to zone event, 2 tickets to zone event, and Jason's April 29th training on strategy around how to create this passive income. Hear what I'm saying? So this package that's $5,000 right now is what is it? $23.95. It's such an incredible, it's insane. It's $23.95, but if you can't afford the $23.95, I will give you a 4-pay of $750. Put down $750 today, and every month I'll finance that for you over the next 4 months. Whatever you do, don't keep living your life in a way that you don't follow through, create the results that you want. There is a massive opportunity here right now, a massive opportunity. I'll show you how to create the active income. Jason will show you how to create the passive income, and you can actually get ahead. You can actually get ahead. So here's what I want before we go to VIP, and I do want to pull Jason up again for 1 second. This is not a pitch. This is an offer for the rest of your life. And at some point, we all have to take responsibility, whether you're an employee or an entrepreneur. I'm a huge fan in everybody building a list. We have people who are employees of Hardcore Business right now taking the exact same honest advice I'm giving you, where they are building their list and they're creating side hustles. I personally am invested in crypto accounts for our Hardcore Business team. It can't get any more authentic than this because it's what I'm doing behind closed doors. The only reason why Jason and I even came back together to talk about this was to take care of the employees at Hardcore Business. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, we need to bring this to our audience. And I need to not be so pigeonholed on just active income, because guess what? There is incredibly bad advice out there. There is incredibly bad advice out there. And I've been in the markets and I have invested hundreds of thousands of dollars in the cryptocurrency market without knowing what the heck I'm doing. And that's like throwing spaghetti up against the wall. Imagine if you could invest 3,000. If you guys could, all you guys find 3,500 bucks. Could all you guys go put 3,500 or put 35. Put 35 in the chats. Would you find $3,500 right now to go and invest in passive income? Especially if you knew that that was going to start generating cash flow for you. Yes. So that's the stuff that Jason and his team do. It's pretty awesome. So I'm going to leave it at this. I'm going to say, Jason, I'm going to pull you right back up if we can pull him back up. This is not something you can sit on the fence about because it's gone today. So we weren't going to do this. Then we made a decision to do this. And I think it's a really move. If you don't have active income locked in, let me show you how to do it. I have clients that, and this is not an income claim, but I have one girl who said, you know what, I'm going to have 20 enrollments this month, 20 enrollments, and her 20 enrollments are going to be a $10,000 package. Now just listen to me for a second. It's actually 12,000. But let's just say 10,000 at 20. That's $200,000 this person is going to generate this month. Guess what? She has the leads in the list. She can do it. She has the leads in the list. That same person was over $300,000 in debt when I met her. The difference without Jason, though, is you will keep on the rat race of creating active income if you don't know how to move it into passive. Jason, real quick, just share a little bit about some of the things you've seen in the marketplace as people have started to invest the way that you guys have strategically taught them. Oh, did
so
he?
The tenant, and am I unmuted?
Nope, you're good.
Okay, cool. So the premise and the gentleman who taught me crypto was Dan Hollings, who we now work with. We publish him because we're like, this stuff is so good. Let's push you out in every household that we possibly can. And so Dan brought the concept to us to crypto, and he knows everything in crypto that I've ever seen. He's an expert in multiple areas of crypto. They're looking at it and we're saying, what's the first thing that we should put out there to the world as an offering? And it's cash flow. So investing in crypto for cash flow. Not buying and holding, although we do that as well. And there's a way to do both simultaneously, buy and hold long-term and spit out.
What just happened? Oh, we lost him. Okay, so you want to get him back on? We lost him. So I'll kind of finish what he was saying. When Dan actually was part of oh, there you are.
Am I back?
You're back. Okay, go ahead.
The loveliness of hotel internet connections, right? The more they tell you they're stable, the less I've learned to trust that they're actually stable. So yeah, Dan Hollings was the one who turned me onto this, and Dan's an expert in all sorts of areas of crypto. It's all he does now. And so we were saying, because we're publishing him now to get it out to the world to help people with crypto, we said, what's the number one thing we should put out there first? And it's cash flow. So you can invest in buy and hold crypto assets while simultaneously getting cash flow out of them. Think of it this way: buying an apartment building, that's the asset. Having a tenant pay you monthly, that's the cash flow. So there's a way to buy crypto where you hold the crypto like you would an apartment, but you have a tenant that pays you, and the tenant doesn't pay you monthly. This tenant sometimes pay you by the minute or by the hour. But usually in less than a day, each and every single day. Think of it like how stocks sometimes pay dividends. Instead of paying a dividend once a quarter or once a month, it's paying you a dividend hundreds of times a day in some instances, or even thousands of them. And so it's not retire money. but 50 bucks a day for this one, 70 for that automation, 120 for that automation, 44 for that automation. It goes quite a long ways. So I already had set Shanda up with this. We were in demo mode right now because we're moving so fast. I said, let's just do demo mode for now. And she is at this rate in cash flow alone. Forget what the assets do, whether the assets are up or down. And they're down right now. Every asset in crypto is down right now because the tide goes up, the tide goes down. It's a bad market in crypto right now. But independent of that, the cash flow, which is claim free and clear and profit, that's actual profit, taken off the table and put into her pocket, is 42% annualized if we were to continue at that rate for the year. And that's, you can nickel and dime your way to passive income doing pretty much nothing, because Shanda, you've not touched any of those automations since we've set them up. They just run all on their own. And it took us less than 5 minutes to set up each and every automation. And so we sell the secret sauce of how that's done. But in the training workshop, I want to turn you on to the idea, at least, of what automations are in crypto, what they look like, why high frequency trading in crypto is a thing that you should be considerate of, and what dollar cost averaging is, and why it's so absolutely critical. Because people are buying Bitcoin, one big chunk of it, who knows at what price. We're buying crypto, small chunks of it every single day, and we average that price out, and we always get a better price. We're not buying it based on a news cycle or based on some YouTube video or something that our brother said to us, right? And so there's a lot of things that we're doing here that I want to turn you on that will make you a better investor, period. But will also safe-proof you from the mania that exists out there in the crypto world, which is insane, and the volatility that exists out there in the crypto world. We turned it into a feature. So it's not a bug, it's a feature. Ever heard that in programming language, right? Yeah, it's not a bug. The volatility of crypto is no longer a bug for us. It's a feature. And so we're going to break down high level in this workshop, more specifically, exactly what that looks like. It's the number one strategy that I recommend to anybody to start off their crypto journey with.
So good. So do you see why I hang out with Jason? He's just smart. And Tony Robbins talks about this, Jason, like it's, you're humble, but you are very, very smart. And you're one of those people that, where he lands, the rug stays underneath him. And that, like Tony Robbins talks about, proximity. And you need to be in proximity around smart people so that you get that leg up. It's not rocket science. It's not, you don't have to be adjacent to be able to do this, but you do need to know why he's chosen certain things to be able to get ahead. And so you guys who jumped into the business and life package or the business package on joinlistpower.com last week, we got you, you're in this. You guys who are sitting on the fence right now, I would go to joinlistpower.com right now so that you can make a decision to decide on what package you want to go into. Business, I'll show you how to build a list, and I'll show you how to monetize that list. Okay. And by the way, I'm training that workshop next week, next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I will walk you through every single thing that you need to do. You will do it with me, and you will 100% be empowered to fish. In other words, you will know how to generate the list. You will start doing it. You'll know every step. And the problem with home study programs is people don't often go and study them. So that's why I'm going to train it to you this month, absolutely live, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, next week. And you're going to know how to generate the list. You're going to start to do it. Okay. People are going to literally raise their hand, and you're going to have authors and people like that say next week that they are interested in promoting you. And so you don't need to know what you want to offer. You don't need to know what you're doing. You can have already a business. You can be a network marketer. You can be a teacher. Every single one of my son's teachers have hired us and have learned how to do this process. I taught it to my best friend. Why? Because I never want to be in a situation that I can't generate souls, as Jason would say, in a list to be able to make money. I just don't want to be, I don't want to ever have anybody else have the power over me creating active income. So I will show you how to create the active income. Now, if you do business in life, the only reason why you do business in life, first of all, it's got leadership added to it. And so that is just your insurance policy. So the rug doesn't get pulled out from underneath you anymore. So you can rely on yourself to complete what you start, be a finisher. Don't be just a great starter and a shitty finisher. Like literally have the whole package called your life working. And that's a full workshop that we do for $5,000. Obviously, I have massively discounted it. So go to joinlistpower.com. You guys in VIP, Jason and I are going to hang with you. We will see you guys tomorrow morning as we're rounding down the last 2 days of this revenue challenge. Jason, it's been a 14-day stretch of these guys crushing it. I mean, the money that people have made, the conversations people have had, the decisions they've made to move things forward has been nothing short of just remarkable. So you guys, we'll see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. VIP, hold on Zoom. We'll be with you in 2 seconds, and I'll talk to you soon. I can't wait to see who I get to meet. So there's 2 types of people in the world. There's creators and there's seekers. And seekers are the people that do all the work. They read the books, they do all the work. And I say this all the time. I say it to my son. I'm like, there are 2 types of people. Seekers listen to the podcast, they read the books, they watch, trainings like this. But what happens ultimately is they end up not taking the action to be able to create the result. Something gets in the way that they can or can't control, but they don't have the leadership to be able to pull it all the way through. So they stop. And then the worst thing that happens when they stop is their confidence gets hit. Creators are the people in your life that they just seem to win. They do all the same steps, but they just seem to win. We are the bridge between seekers and creators. And that's why we created this opportunity for you today to join listpower.com. And that's why we created this for you. So we have, if you don't know us very well, we have helped thousands of people. We help thousands of people every single month. Every single month, people just like you who either have a dream to start a side hustle or they've been in business for a while and they've never been able to break free. And so just know that with this opportunity, you'll never see this opportunity again. I never make the same offer twice. And so this is a time for you to choose you. So go to joinlistpower.com. I'll talk to you guys soon. And let's move over to VIP.